This is Channels Television. Please stay tuned for live coverage of the Labour Party press briefing in Ikeja, Lagos State. This is a live Channels Television event.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of this press, I stand on all the existing protocols. This is now midday. This midday's address is being organized by Afenifere Lagos State and elders of the Committee of Indigenous Lagosians supporting the ambition of Mr. Gbadebo Rose-Bible and Princess Oyefusi to be elected as the next governor and deputy governor of Lagos State. So the text of our press address, because this event is basically for the press, is as follows. If we could kindly switch off our phones so that the procedure is not, we don't have any interference. Lagos State Afenifere again wishes to express its gratitude to the people of Lagos State for the victory accorded Mr. Peter Obi and Dr. Yusuf Datti at the presidential polls held on the 25th of February. And this was in spite of instances of intimidation and the orchestrated conspiracy to suppress and doctor the votes cast at the polling units for Labour Party on that occasion. This feat was made possible by the determination of young men and women, middle-aged and elderly voters, even some in low-density areas, who are usually indifferent to elections. Afenifere is exceedingly joyful and happy regarding the mammoth turnout of the electorate all over Lagos State, respecting the presidential poll held on 25th of February 2023. This was in spite of the age-long lukewarmness, apathy regarding various previous national elections. The reawakening observed on Saturday, 25th, is very heartwarming and a vindication of the principal stance of Afenifere regarding the requirements for equity, inclusiveness, fairness, and justice. You recall that these were the main consideration in Afenifere supporting Peter Obi and Yusuf Datti for that election. Afenifere is thankful to all and sundry, and those who have shared this vision of equity, inclusiveness, and fairness, and the purpose of the need to enable a new Nigeria. We are more particularly grateful to those who stood by the various polling units to ensure the validation of the people's will by casting their votes for His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi and all the Labour candidates in the presidential and National Assembly elections on the 25th of February 2023. Although INEC has publicly given us assurance of a better performance in the impending governorship polls on Saturday, 11th of March, having given such assurances in the past, its overt connivance to subvert the will of the people in the unconscionable conspiracy to ensure that the results of the votes were not offloaded at the polling units, which issue had been identified as the mischief the amended Electoral Act sought to cure. Their inability to ensure that the results were offloaded makes their assurances most unreliable, makes the undertaking not a serious undertaking that one should accept as something that they will ensure that is done on that day. Voters must therefore insist on compliance with the law and the rules guiding the casting of polls at each polling unit on Saturday, 11th of March. Voters should ensure that the results at their polling unit is offloaded at the polling unit. The security agencies themselves too have assured us of their determination to ensure that all parts of Lagos are well secured and that the threat to life and the suppression of voters witnessed on the 25th of February, in some instances, some will say many instances in their presence, they've assured us that that scepter will not reoccur. We enjoy local and international observers and the voters themselves to keep an eagle eye watch on the conduct of our security agencies and capture wherever it's possible infractions wherever they may occur, so that we will be in a position to hold the security agencies accountable. The many unfortunate incidents of thuggery, physical assaults, occasioning harm, disenfranchisement, or denial of the right to freely choose in a democratic environment witnessed during the elections of Saturday, the 25th of February, must be understood for what they are. It was a concerted effort intended to intimidate, frustrate, and discourage the people, particularly concerning the forthcoming governorship and state assembly elections scheduled for the 11th of March 2023. Afenifere has noted the brazen desperation of the APC party in Lagos State. After all its efforts to create dissension, contrive misunderstanding, and therefore foist on the people a situation of mutual hate and destroy have failed. They tried that. Social media was replete of posts encouraging hatred amongst the various ethnic groups in Lagos. They have also resorted to strong-arm tactics by forcing people to do their will even after they have been defeated at the presidential polls. It is believed that with INEC's assurance of better performance and the people's ability to be the watchdog of their ability to keep to that assurance, that the polls on Saturday, 11th of March, and the procedure of Olodi results through the BVAs at the polling unit will be seamless and in real time. The manipulation is usually enabled after this process. It is believed that our own vigilance will ensure that the elections will be free and fair. Afenifere hereby enjoins all men and women of goodwill to turn out en masse on Saturday, 11th of March, to vote for architect Gbadebo Rose-Bible, a scion of the illustrious Rose-Bible family of Lagos, whose family ancestry and pivotal contribution to the affairs of Lagos State dates back to 5 generations. Gbadebo is sure to make a huge difference to the unfortunate present state of morals, brigandry, opportunism, impunity, and prebendary. He will restore the cherished values of Lagos encapsulated in the Omoluabi ethic of fellow feeling, dignity, and nobility of spirit. All candidates of Lagos Party in Lagos State constituencies are noted to be natural workmates of the Gbadebo governorship. They too deserve our attention and votes. the team that is afforded by this synergy will ensure a result-oriented administration and put an end to the many years of desultory governance in Lagos State. We implore Lagos residents to ignore provocative posts on social media, many enabled by the urgent provocateur and aimed at fanning the embers of disunity among peace-loving residents and intended to pitch Yorubas against Igbos. Igbos voted for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in states southeast, the same way that many Yorubas elected to vote for Mr. Peter Obi in Lagos and other states in southwest. The issue that we are confronting is not a contest between Igbos and Yorubas. It's a contest of ideas. It's a contest of those who think that we're at a stage where there should be a change in the polity. Finally, sitting here with us is the father of the governorship candidate, Mr. Roosevelt himself is sitting here with us. Also with us is Her Excellency, Mrs. Kofo-Boakun-Akerele, who is representing, apart from on the one side being part of one of the leaders of Afenifere, she's also representing all the Elders Council of Lagos State Indigents. She's here on behalf of all the Elders Council. So the false narrative of Lagos being taken over by Igbos is a false narrative. Mr. Gbadebo Roosevelt is a Yoruba man, with his great-grandfather being one of the indigenous founders of New Lagos, immediately after colonialism. Lagos is not a no man's land. It is a Yoruba territory. It is Yoruba territory. And we assure all Lagosians that the government of Mr. Roosevelt will be comprised of indigenous Lagosians, as well as providing and ensuring that all ethnic groups and foreigners resident in Lagos are afforded their basic rights to ensure that they all contribute to the continuing growth of the city of Lagos, that is the 5th largest economy in Africa. We have been inundated by several posts of some royal fathers being complicit in engaging in partisan politics. We must advise our royal fathers that the function of royal fathers is to be the royal fathers to both the party in government and the opposition party. They are not expected to be partisan, but there are some posts that were circulated last week, some of it we forwarded to the police, of royal fathers intimidating those who were intending to vote and compelling them not to vote for Labour Party. I will advise them to retract from taking such an attitude, because there will be consequences for royal fathers who show partisanship in their engagement in the polity. The truth of the matter is that many people are yearning for change, and we are at the stage where all those who we are putting forward in Labour Party are candidates that are representing a change that is even beyond their own person. So the issue is not their person, the issue is what they are standing for. And the young men and women, middle-aged, and all those who supported Mr. Peter Obi in Lagos last week should turn out to support Mr. Gbadebo Roosevelt and the Deputy Princess Oyefusi. so that that momentum for change may start in Lagos. I thank you all for your time, and one will repeat the usual adage when Yoruba people are yearning for a change from the status quo. I think there's a common adage of otoge. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of Afenifere in Lagos State, and that is the position of the Lagos elders regarding the candidature of their illustrious son, Gbadebo Rose-Fibo. We have been told to ignore the rumor making the rounds that Igbos want to take over Lagos. There is nothing like that. We have heard from our leaders, our fathers, that Lagos is a Yoruba territory, and that when Gbadebo becomes the governor of Lagos State, the cabinet will be composed of Yorubas, even though other interests will be accommodated in the affairs of Lagos, but it will going to be comprised of Yorubas. Another round of applause for the incoming governor is not here, but we have his father, like I said earlier, in our midst. I'm sure Lagosians and all of us here would like to hear from the father. So we'll give you just a few minutes to talk to Lagosians. Who are the road drivers? Is it true that they are Igbo? Where are they coming from? What is their history in Lagos? Over to you, sir.
I stand on all protocols of the day. Distinguished people of the press, thank you for coming. About 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, we were inundated. That's the Rose-Fibo family. I am the head of Rose-Fibo in the world, actually. And I'm also the father of Gbadebo. So about 2-3 weeks ago, we were inundated with a tissue of lies and fabrication, all kinds of propaganda that actually shocked us. You know, sometimes you hear something they say about you and you begin to pinch yourself. Is this really true? You begin to doubt yourself. And so I had to do a video. I did a video about that, and this video traced back with all the names and dates, all the illustrious judges and lawyers up to 100 years back. Every generation we had a lawyer, we had a doctor. My brother just retired from the Supreme Court without blemish, and that was about 2-3 years ago. That's the last one on the bench so far. But the next generation is full of lawyers too, who are intending to go on. Some of them in private practice, some to business, and some onto the bench. So I thank Afenifere, because Afenifere has come out with substantial gravitas in backing us, in lifting us. You know, sometimes you are what you are, but if you don't have people around who can push you up, it can be a very lonely fight. So I thank Afenifere for what they have been doing, and thank them for what they are doing now. Afenifere, I thank you for what you are. I thank you for what you have been to the Yoruba people, and what you are to the nation, Nigeria. Thank you. It is true that there's this momentum that commenced after at the point of SARS, end SARS. And that momentum, because I want to put it in context now, it is the flood that is pushing up a lot of people that we are talking about now. This is not to take from the people, but the momentum itself is it's a momentum of character. The Nigerians had just had enough. Enough is enough. They wanted to have good government. For a change, they just wanted to have normal, decent people in position of power. That's all they ask. That's all we are. We have had so much of the negative that the Nigerian people have been pushed to the wall. Now, this momentum itself started to look at the point of SARS. There was no body who was the face of the momentum, but the momentum itself began to look for its own officers, and it found on the national level, it found Peter Obi and Dati. We know their antecedents. They are people that we can be proud of. If I go anywhere in the world and Dati or Obi is my president, I would not be ashamed. But you can imagine when I go into Heathrow or wherever, and the person who won, the elect, is my president. You know, my passport, I begin to try and see whether I can turn the green to yellow. Because what usually happens is they just move you, or you stay there. You're from Nigeria, or you stay there. Okay, let's deal with the legitimate people first. And so, I want to speak a little bit about Badibo, his my son. I know that definitely I'm biased, but you know, I will stay with facts. I'm not talking about opinions, facts. Badibo is not a politician. He's an activist. That is his core, that is the core character of Badibo. When he came out after school, he was leading marches to the legislature. He was debating with the Minister of Agriculture. And this was the GMO thing. You see, the thing with an activist is that the activist is revolted by injustice, by anything that's unfair. Immediately he reacts and he begins to lead processions and marches and goes on TV, and so that was Badibo for you. So Badibo at heart is somebody that is just good. It's as simple as that. He's just a good man because he will react to anything negative, and he reacts violently to anything negative. He goes on marches and he does all kinds of things within the law to ensure that he's able to change the status quo. During his activism, he recognized that it would be difficult to change things as an activist, and so he decided to go back to school, did the master's in political science, and then decided to go into politics. Now, prior to this, when Badibo started school here at Chrisland, and then went on to ISL, that's the University of Lagos Secondary School. He didn't finish there, but he finished at EAB in Paris. And then this is where I noticed myself as the father that this boy was different too. There was this graduation ceremony. I was there in Paris. And the valedictorian was making his speech. But before he made his speech, he said that there is somebody here in this class. And you know, that's a white class, so the French boys. He is black. There's somebody here in this hall who is responsible for what I am today. That's the valedictorian. That's the man who led the class. And he began to tell us about Badibo, that he didn't know this valedictorian was up on chemistry and physics, but that Badibo spent time, including going out in inclement weather where it was in winter and all that, to go and lecture him and teach him. And then now he is what he is. You can imagine how I felt. I was sitting there, and you know, he is not the valedictorian, but the valedictorian himself is admitting that this is the person who made him what he is. So you find that Badibo has this spirit of love. He has the spirit of, he can easily go into your situation and understand your situation and sit down with you and find a solution to it. This is what he brings to government. The second anecdote that I recall was one day at MIT, I called him and we were talking. He says he's spending 3 days, the third day in the studio. I said, what are you doing for 3 days straight in the studio? How you don't sleep? He said, he has a project that he wants to finish, and he's not going to leave that studio until he finishes it. Now, this is his character, and we are talking about character. But everyone will not say that he wants to do certain things and do it halfway. He will finish it. He is rugged enough to finish it. That is Badibo for you. Finally, I want us to recognize the role of God in everything that we are doing. If the people that we are contesting against have had the treasury of Lagos State at their disposal, we are hearing that 2-3 billion, I think, goes to a certain person every month for the last 24 years. Those of you who can do math, I'm not a mathematician, you can calculate it and see whether that is not equal to the GDP of somebody. But this is what we are fighting against, and we have prevailed. And who are we? We are just normal people. From Isaleko that we came and stayed. All of us went to school, were lawyers, were judges and all. But we were not politicians. We didn't go into government that we say we are Maxwell somewhere. We are not senators. We are not anybody. We don't have the funds to fight this war. But we have prevailed. That can only be God. And so I want to end by encouraging us that if we can see the writing on the wall, that it is possible to prevail against evil, then please come out on the 11th of March and make it a resounding victory for all of us. Thank you.
That was a beautiful speech. Another round of applause for Baba. And Lagosians, thank you for giving us Badibo, sir. We want to thank you in advance. Before I call on the next speaker, I want to recognize my state chairman. He wasn't on seat when we were doing the introduction. Otumba Tunde Onokoya is the state chairman of Afenifere in Lagos. We will be handing over the mic to our mother in Lagos, the former deputy governor of the state and one-time senator, and one of the pillars of the Elders Council in Lagos State. I refer to Her Excellency, Mrs. Kofo Bokno Akerele.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually, I'm not Mrs. Bokno Akerele. My father was the late Dr. Oni Akerele, and my mother was the late Miss Bokno. So that is how I am Bokno Akerele. And I am Senator Bokno Akerele. That is how I'd like to be referred to. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the people of Lagos State, because I think our freedom have just begun. But we're only halfway there. We have to complete it on Saturday. You see, when people say that Obi wants to take over Lagos State, how is it possible? Certainly, people like me and who are indigents of Lagos State cannot possibly allow that to happen. The reason why Afenifere is supporting Obi, because Afenifere believes in justice. If we look at it, the Yorubas have had a shot of the presidency. The North has had a shot. The South has had a shot. The only part of Nigeria that has not had a shot is the Southeast. And because we in Afenifere believe in fairness, that is why we're supporting the Obi presidency. Now, we all know what happened on Saturday. I was out in my usual jeans and t-shirt. Yes, they always abuse me that Mama wears her t-shirt and jeans and runs about all over the place on election day. I was so proud to see all these young people who came out to vote. And I say thank you. But please, please, I beg you, don't let that victory slip from our hands. You have brought us victory. Don't let these people intimidate you. We have had enough of rule by touts in Lagos State. Everywhere you go, you see touts at the bus stops and everywhere with their sticks, beating people, driving people. Is that the sort of government we want for Lagos State? Enough is enough. As we say in Yoruba, otoge. Please come out in your millions. We registered over 7 million votes in Lagos State. What happened? We know the figure they wrote for us is not the correct figure. But I beg you all, come out, all of you who have voters' cards, come out and free us from the tyranny that we have been undergoing for the last 20 years and more. Young people, I thank you again. Remember, it is your future that is at stake. I'm on my way out now. As somebody said, we're at the departure lounge. Kagba boarding pass, Loku. But you people, it is your future at stake. Come out and free yourself from this tyranny that has been the government of APC in Lagos State. I thank you all.
Another round of applause for Mama. Senator Kofo Bokno Akerele, we thank you, ma. We thank you so much. I think it's time to take questions and responses from the media. Just 2 or 3. Just 2 or if there's any, before we close the event. Do you have any question? If not, okay. You just, your name and the organization you represent.
Thank you. I am Emmanuel Opai from Ikotu, a part of the Good Party that has collapsed or in support of the Labour Party. Now, I'm an Igbo man, and I am worried with the news my brothers and sisters are placing call on me, asking me every now and then because of what they are hearing from the East regarding the activities of some APC members that are sponsored against the Igbos. That there is a man, that P2B is an IPOB man, sponsoring an IPOB governor in Lagos to take over Lagos. So my question is going to you, sir, the father of the governor in waiting. Please, can you clarify us? Is your son an Igbo man that is an IPOB man that has had IPOB meetings with Nnamdi Kanu to take over Lagos? Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you for the question. If we laugh at it, there are some people who will actually believe it, so we have to answer it. We have to do a rejoinder. Madiba has no time for iPod. This boy is highly educated, highly driven, and we can track his record every day in Lagos. So he has no time for iPod. Even Obi himself has already talked about iPod and denigrated iPod. He doesn't support it. So to answer your question, don't be afraid, don't be scared. Come out on the 11th. We have put in place particular strategic things where, before we really thought, we really believed what the INEC chairman was saying and what the policeman was saying, that things are going to be better. So we just, we will just relax, and we are now reacting. In 11th, we are going to be proactive. They are not going to catch us napping, because if we get 900,000 votes and you give us only 500, even though we beat you, it's still affecting. The whole thing about politics is numbers. So it's still affecting the overall turnout of the whole situation. So be careful, just go and vote and defend your vote. I cannot now tell you strategically what we are going to do, but relax yourself, believe that nothing is going to happen to you on 11th of March. Thank you.
Okay, the last questioner. That's the last person, yes.
That is another, my cousin.
Good afternoon. Good morning. I'm Mr. Koye Rhodes. I'm Badibo's uncle. And yesterday, around this morning, 6 a.m., I got a strange call. And I'm worried about this. I got a strange call from somebody, and they sent me a message. I want to read it. I think I should bring it to the public so that we can escalate or get something done about it. They said APC has compromised, and this person told me that I should make sure I get this out. That APC has compromised the 20 INEC electoral officers in Lagos. That the project has been handled by Senator Tokubo Afoku-Yomi and Ogboni Ford Oki, that the deal are acting on the directives of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The assurances to these EOs is job security, as Tinubu is the president in waiting, and that APC has perfected plans to embed new supervisory polling officers and registration area collation technologists, that APC will deploy voters intimidation, that APC members openly asserting that those who want to vote other parties should take their leave of each polling unit. This will be done before the commencement of voting exercise and at intervals. It says the military will not be featured in Saturday's polls, and that the police are compromised. I mean, as my cousin, I spoke to, I don't know who it was, but I spoke to the person, and they said that I should make sure that this is escalated, and we should get the government get it as far as possible. We should have a press conference. We should do something we should be loud, because it says that is the only way we won't get a lot of violence on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, following what Mr. Rhodes has raised and the comments of Mr. Rosebible Sr., we are aware of the machinations of the ruling party to hold on to power. But the truth of the matter is that we are the majority. And once the majority is able to wake up from its slumber, it will definitely overcome a minority group. We have shown that we are the majority. Last Saturday, there were attempts to frustrate the process on the 25th as well. But when you come to a territory where a majority of people are standing on one side, there's no way that a minority group can impose their will on them. So Saturday is an opportunity for all of us to display the fact that we are the majority in this state, and that the majority of in this state are tired of the status quo, and that the majority of this state will protect their votes and defend their votes. There are arrangements that were put in place, hoping that the police and all other law enforcement agencies will be alive to their constitutional role, which is in ensuring the safety of all those who will be going to the polling units to cast their votes. And I can assure you that even the people themselves, now being aware of the power in their hands, will not let that opportunity slip from them. So be rest assured that there are things in place that the political party too has put in place, that Afenifere too has enabled to put in place, that will ensure that all your votes will be secured and protected. There will be a fallback if the police does not do what it is constitutionally empowered to do. So rest assured, go out and cast your vote for Mr. Rosebible and ensure that we start the epoch of new Nigeria, because Lagos is the epicenter of the Nigerian polity. Lagos is the only state that is able to show the rest of Nigeria and dictate the way forward. There has always been that. So, and I'm sure that on Saturday, the people of Lagos will not fail in ensuring that the struggle, which was ignited by their decision to come out to vote in large numbers in spite of all the obstacles that were placed to deter them, they were able to overcome them on the 25th of February. But as Mr. Rosebible said, this time round, we're not only going to rest on the assurances of the security forces. That's why, in our address, we've enjoined the international and local observers who were present and saw the various hotspots where there were concerted efforts to subdue and suppress the votes. I can assure you that this time around that won't happen. Thank you.
I'd just like to say something in Yoruba. In Yoruba, we say that mi ò lè wá kú ki jogun babe, and I'll translate it into English, which means that if I don't want to die, will never inherit his father's property. So please, go out and vote. Tell your people not to be intimidated. They should stand firm so that we can have victory on Saturday.
Well, I said last person, then let's have Baba this time.
Thank you. I was just going to add to the admonition to go out and vote, and defend your vote. If you're dealing with people who, by instinct, are violent or they are prone to violence to solve their problems, it's always like when they see that the votes, see, this is why they don't start in the morning. They have people, mostly, some of the people at the polling booth who are looking out for them. Once they've told them that it's not going your way, then they send out their thuggish army. So I'm going to advocate a step beyond just being very nice, passive, go there, vote. I believe the labor crowd at every polling booth, and there will be more, should have some kind of defensive, I'm not saying they should take arms fight, but they should have some kind of defensive arrangement around every polling booth. So that when they see these guys coming, they should be able to either protect the polling booth by, all around there, or something, but you can still work it out. Labor can still work it out. What are we going to do around each polling booth to make sure that the thugs cannot come and dissemble everything?
Thank you very much. I think we have now come to the end of the meeting, the press briefing. I will call on the governorship candidate of both parties to give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. I think I prefer standing. Before I do the vote of thanks, I will just send a message to the youth. If this election is about you, you need to be able to know the difference between what a presidential election represents and what state elections are about. That you will get that good life that you look forward to. It's your state that will give you. It's not the federal government. Because the federal government will not come and manage your refuse. Federal government will not manage your potholes. They will not build your roads. They will not build your hospitals. Federal government will not build your schools. Federal government will not provide you security except at the high level. Your water is your state government. Almost everything that affects your life is your state that will provide it for you. So this election is more important than the election that we had for the presidential. So thank you. On that note, I want to thank everybody for coming for this occasion. We appreciate your coming. We look forward to engaging you between now and Friday because we are expecting a Supreme Court judgment today. I don't know if that judgment has been made. It's going to let us know how Saturday will be or if there will be an election on Saturday at all. So thank you very much. We'll call it a day. I wish everybody a safe trip home.
I want to let the media men know that there's refreshment for them, so they should wait behind to have their refreshment.
You're watching Channels Television. You've been watching the Labour Party press conference in Ikeja, Lagos State. Please stay tuned as we return to our regular scheduled programs. You've been watching a live Channels Television event.